Hello, my friends. It's been a very hot minute of me recording any episodes, posting any episodes, sharing anything really in this space. Um, and I don't really know what got me there. I'm feeling called in this very, very moment to record and just take some time to recap the past few weeks and maybe even months, and kind of get the energy going and flowing for 2024 and what's to come in this new year. I am frankly not really a subscriber to any sort of resolutions or goals, but I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. And if you're not familiar, it is Capricorn season. We find ourselves kind of in the middle of it. And Capricorn as a sign is extremely organized. It's an earth sign. So lots of really grounding, rooting behaviors and energy that are surrounding us right now. And for me, after the holidays, the moment Christmas is over, my family and I celebrate. I kick it into high gear. And I think even leading up to the holidays, I feel anxious and nervous and try my best to relax. But as soon as Christmas and all that stuff is over, I really take this last week of the calendar year to get my shit together and get motivated for what's to come. And so I'm really looking at tomorrow, January 1st, as being a moment for me to hit the refresh button. Not for, I'm recording this now, but this will be posted on New Year's Day, not for all these big, gigantic goals and measurements of how I'm going to be successful in 2024. I think there's plenty of time when we get to the astrological new year, which is in the middle of March when Pisces becomes Aries season. And so I'm giving myself these next couple of months to really just get back into a routine that feels supportive for me, kind of get my vision board together and my calendar together. And the one thing that I'm really, really focused on this year personally is creating a budget that I can stick to and feel really excited about, and kind of reshaping my relationship with money. It's something that I've really, really struggled with throughout my life, and especially as an independent adult, feeling like, frankly, I live in abundance because I know that I do. I very much lived in a scarcity mindset, and I'm still really trying to work through that. So all that to say, I really felt called to record this episode to share with you some reflections on the year of 2023, as well as give you a glimpse into 2024, and do that by pulling a tarot card spread, one for a theme of the year, and then a card for each month of the coming year. And so I really wanted to start with some of the things that I personally learned throughout my life this year that have really just been incredibly expansive and pivotal for me. I think truly this has been my favorite year so far. I know everybody says that every year, but I've not always actually felt that. This year, I'm almost sad that it's leaving and it's moving on, and I'm really excited to celebrate all the beautiful things that have come and gone. But I have this attachment to it that I've never really felt before. And so working through that energy and trying to figure out what feels right as I move into 2024 has been a really big challenge, because honestly, there's not a lot of things that I would change besides what I'm in right now. And I'll say, for the past couple of weeks, I've really kind of felt a little down in the dumps. Ever since around middle of November timeframe, I have not felt motivated to do anything. And I know we're in the dead of winter, right? It's not cold in Arizona, but it still is really dark for a longer period of time. Everybody's kind of gone and off doing their own thing. So there's a lot of time alone or a lot of time to really slow down. And oftentimes I guilt myself into thinking that that free time needs to be used for productivity. And then I beat myself up about it. And so it's this constant kind of toxic cycle that I go through in my head. And honestly, I've just been putting so much pressure on myself to have everything perfect all the time, whether it be the content that I create and really getting into a rhythm there on my personal Instagram as well as this one. It's also, making sure that I release an episode for you all every single week because that's what I committed to. And I don't like not following through on my commitments. I'm extremely loyal in that way. And whether there's 2 people listening or 20,000 people listening, I feel obligated in a sense to hold myself accountable and have that discipline even in the season of rest and relaxation and indulgence and enjoyment. And so that's kind of where I've been. I will also say, not to toot my own horn, but I really feel like I've been crushing it in my corporate job these past 2 months or so. And as you all know, that is not my long-term path. I already know that, and I'm really creating a plan, which I'm sure we'll dive into on a different episode of how to create abundance in my life in other ways. But I felt really engaged for a second there. However, I noticed that the energy that I usually leave with was not the same. I usually am able to go teach my yoga classes and be really excited and enthusiastic, or come home and hop on my laptop for an hour or 2 at night and really drive and get what I want to get done from a content perspective, or even just from recording an episode or editing. Of course, those things take time, but usually that's the time that I really enjoy in my day. And so I got away from that because candidly, I felt like work was taking the energy out of me in a not so great way. And this kind of bleeds into the things that I've learned in 2023. And number one is your energy tells you things and you need to listen. And the aha moment that I had actually about 2 weeks ago or so is I was in a coaching session with my boss. Actually, this was a little bit longer ago, but it's really resonated with me, so much so that these last few weeks, I've really kind of chilled out. And about a month or so ago, I was talking to my boss in our one-on-one, and we were talking about this project that I was embarking on that I was honestly kind of hesitant to for a multitude of reasons. One of those being the person that was managing it, and I just am not a huge fan of them. I think we're very different personality-wise, and normally I can collaborate and work with people like that. And find a way to make it work. But I immediately understood the energy of them taking on this project as a self-serving win, if you will, or a self-serving thing that they could put on their year end or their resume. And his intentions, their intentions were extremely transparent without words. And of course, my perception of that might be colored with some bias, but at the end of the day, I was like, I'm only doing this because I want the best for our department, and I really feel like I have the skills and the expertise equipped to get this done really, really well. And so, of course, I went through with it. I did the best I could do. It's still going to be going on when I return to work this coming week. And most of the kind of hard noses down grunt work is over, which is great. But now I get the chance to really develop others and help support people in their learning of these changes that we've implemented. So all of that to say, I was talking to my manager about this and updating her on what is it that is holding me back from saying yes to this? It feels like a really easy yes from a professional opportunity on paper. And I'm lucky that I got the choice to say yes or no, or leave at a different time frame than the rest of the working team. But I was explaining to her the resistance that I was feeling was in my stomach. And so I immediately made that connection of the Manipura chakra, where your self-esteem, your confidence, and even like your physical standpoint, your Agni, your digestive system, and that fire within your core start to really kind of get out of control. Those flames start to burn everything down. And if your chakra is overstimulated, this one in particular, oftentimes this can come with like almost a cockiness, even a sense of like anger and a lack of humility. And I was feeling all of those things. And I said to myself and to her as well, I said, this is so out of character for me. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I feel very defensive. I feel very like I need to put a wall up and only share like what immediately needs to be shared, and no more than that. And I honestly, in some ways, still feel that way, but less so about my own being in the situation, and more so about like some of the people that I work with, frankly. And so I was explaining to her this Manipura kind of chakra energy, and she was like, she did an amazing job of coaching me to say like, look, you don't need to invest all of that emotion into what you're doing. And if you know me personally, you know that I'm a very emotional person. I find myself very empathetic, highly sensitive. So it's really hard to like separate that, right? But at the end of the day, I learned in that very moment and in that very conversation with her that my energy was speaking to me. And so I had already made the choice. I'm going to follow through with it. Just like I mentioned earlier, I always feel obligated and hold myself accountable to follow something through all the way, especially when other people are involved. And so that was a huge learning that I realized a lot of other experiences in my life this year in 2023 have added up to. So as we move into 2024, something that, I'd advise you and encourage you to think about is like really have an awareness and find moments in your day where you can come back and take stock of what your energy looks and feels like, and notice like, hey, maybe there's an adjustment I need to make. How can I do that? Is that a walk outside? Is that a couple of deep breaths? Is that talking to my friend or a family member? Is it sitting down and reading a book? Or is it something completely different, right? It's whatever suits you. Or you can also notice like, I feel really good in my energy now. What does this feel like? And how did I get here? What has brought me to this point in my day or my evening that I feel really good about, and I can revel in it, I can celebrate it, I can find joy in it, and also know, even though it's temporary, I can always choose to come back to this energy. And that's something that I'm very much continuing to bring into my life this year. The second thing that I learned is that you are so loved. On days, and especially recently, where I felt unmotivated, unwanted, not necessarily by others, but by myself, when I go through those throes of not feeling great, I sit back, and this sounds so vain, but I sit back and think about the comments on, my Instagram stories, or the little messages that I get from people that I haven't connected with in a really long time. And those words of affirmation, that's my love language, bring me back to there are so many people out there who root for you, who root for me, who want to see you thrive and strive and chase your dreams, and they're inspired themselves by doing that. And so you have to continue to show up every day for yourself, not for those people, but also remember that you are constantly being reminded and shown that just by following your intuition, by following the path that you feel called to follow, significant people are going to show up and tell you you are just doing the coolest things. I'm so inspired. And maybe the words aren't for you. Maybe it's something different. But when folks reach out and they say how much something has resonated with them, that is what keeps me going and keeps me motivated. And so you have to remember that you are always so loved, even when it doesn't feel like it. You always have people in your corner, even if you don't think about them every day. It's so funny. I was messaging back and forth with a friend of mine who, we've never been close, but he and I went to the same high school and the same college and followed very different paths, but are both very outgoing people. And now we're both really embracing this holistic wellness path. He's a spinal doctor, and I'm going to bring him on this season. So I'm really, really excited. His name's Ivan. And he's based out of Kansas City. So if you're there, check him out. And it was just so cool to we're talking about how wild it is that our lives went completely different paths, but now we're connecting on the foundation that really matters the most, which is our deepest values and our deepest desires of our lives. And so that just reminded me, even though, you have diverse people in your life that do very different things from you, you're still so loved by them, and you have so much room in your heart to love them back. The third thing that I learned this year, and frankly, I am still learning, is your deservingness has nothing to do with your past. Whew. I feel like, and my friends would say this about me, I'm always working on myself. And I think a part of me takes a lot of pride in that, right? I enjoy the work. And candidly, a lot of the work is pulling the tarot, playing with my crystals, the woo-woo things that are spiritual, but feel light. And a lot of spirituality, in my very humble opinion, is actually going through that dark night of soul and moving through those deep, dark emotions and lessons that our souls have created a contract with the universe to come down as humans and learn. And for the longest time, I've always felt that this inner growth, I believe I am meant to enjoy these things and pursue this path of spirituality for me, if anything else. But I think that I've also been very attracted to it because, in a way, as I learn and grow in this space, I'm also able to run away from some of the things that have always felt like they held me back. And one of those things is old versions of myself. But I've found recently, especially, I think a lot about the past. I think a lot about my relationship with my dad. I think a lot about previous relationships where men have deeply hurt me. And especially in relationships, I've been asked a lot, are you dating this year and stuff? And I did a little bit, but not really. And I think it's fear. I'm scared. I'm scared to be hurt again. And ultimately, I see men that I'm physically attracted to, that I'm intellectually attracted to, all of the things. And I automatically think I don't deserve that person. And I don't know why that's my immediate reaction. And I do think it's because I've had lots of experiences with infidelity in the past. I've experienced a lot of negative self-talk as a result of other people saying things about me, and me in a way choosing, but also finding no other way to live than to believe those people. And so it's kept me really small and made me realize I don't deserve things. But it's not a realization. It's actually a concept in my head that I've made up and that I've subconsciously adopted. And so I want to remind you that wherever you're at, you just by existing, I'm getting emotional, you just by existing deserve the world and everything that's coming to you. And there is a path for you. And the things that you go through don't make you any more or less deserving. Someone might have more money than you. Cool. They're not any more deserving than you are of abundance. You're just going to find it in a different way. People that are deeply in love or have children and had no problems doing that versus somebody who, might be challenged in one or all of those realms and have the deep desire. It's not because you're not deserving. It's just because that there is a path, a plan that is unfolding before you, and you are equipped with all the tools that you need from those previous experiences, that hurt that you've been through, to help you prepare for more, better, different, not to keep you held back and keep you small because you're undeserving. So just remember, you absolutely deserve the world. And as easy as it is to hear that from somebody else, to remind you, you have to step up and remind yourself every single day that you are deserving. The fourth thing that I've learned this year is that take the fucking trip. I went to Costa Rica this year and did a surf camp, and then spent some time with my friends internationally. About 6 weeks later, I went on the trip of a lifetime with a bunch of women that I'd never met before and spent some time by myself in Bali. Literally 24 hours worth of travel away. Terrifying experience in all the right ways. I was going to a foreign country where I don't know a language. I don't know the societal norms. I don't know anybody. I don't know what a hospital would look like if I got hurt or sick. And I did, of course, all the Capricorn things to prepare. Like, I was like, practical, check, check, check. I am ready to freaking go. I packed everything that I would need, even like a portable bidet. Shout out to Shani. Oh my God, I probably needed that more than a few times to make sure that I was, clean when I was out and about and hygienic, if you will. Anyway, everybody was like, that's crazy. You're traveling all that way by yourself. Aren't you scared? I was like, of course I'm fucking scared. I'm terrified. But it shows you so much about yourself when you travel by yourself or with other people. But I think for a while, I'm always like, oh, I'll take the trip when I have XYZ amount of money in my bank account, or I'll take the trip when I have XYZ time off, or I'm ready mentally, emotionally, physically to do that. Just fucking take the trip. If an opportunity comes up and you feel called, go. All that money will come back to you. All that beautiful abundance and all of those things will come back to you. I met one of my really good friends this year in Costa Rica. She lives in Germany. We would not have connected otherwise if the timing didn't work out. And I truly believe I was meant to meet her. Shout out to Jackie. She was on an episode this season. In October, I was able to go meet family and friends in Chicago and see Hamilton. And Hamilton's been on my bucket list since I fucking saw it for the first time. Like, I feel so moved by that play and musical in particular. I was like, I have to go. And my best friend texted me. She's like, hear me out. Let's do it. Flights are this much, tickets are this much. And I was like, not in my budget right now. My quote unquote budget. I have air quotes if you can't see me. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to fly a cheaper airline and not check a bag and have all these things like that. I'm not traveling luxury. I'm traveling to go do something that I've always freaking wanted to do. And that was a really big moment for me to think like, okay, like everything doesn't have to be perfect for a good opportunity to arise and for you to take it. Opportunities come up every single day. And you just have to be willing to say yes. So say yes to that trip, to that relationship, to that person. Treat yourself. If you feel called to buy something, a book, a shirt, a pair of shoes, don't go crazy, but like indulge yourself every once in a while. Back to my previous point, you deserve it all the time. And so when you feel excited about something, answer that call. Let that energy continue to flow and find joy in it. Getting excited over here. My next lesson is really simple, and it's gratitude lifts. I love that phrase because I think, especially when you're in low vibrational states or in a place where you're like, I'm not really feeling it. We tend to just sit there because it's comfortable. And the one thing that always really gets me out of my head and back into my heart is practicing gratitude in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's sitting down with my tarot deck and pulling something and taking a few moments to do some meditation and just make a list of all the things I'm grateful for. Can take 5 minutes, can take 45 minutes if you want. Something I'm bringing into my life more consistently is trying to, at the end of the day, lay down, separate from my phone, from the TV, from any stimulants, and just lay there and close my eyes and list all the gratitudes I have for that day. I don't care if they're the same every single day, but that energy as you go to sleep, when you sleep, your subconscious is taking over, and it's really a moment for those things to kind of fall through the cracks of your brain and let loose and reprocess and rest. And so what you put in your mind before you go to sleep is really important. And why not put something in your head that's high vibrational, that's centered in love, and that celebrates the present moment, what is, versus all the what ifs that honestly might keep you up at night. And so great practice that I'm hoping to be a little bit more consistent about. But remember that gratitude lifts. When you tell somebody you're grateful for them or appreciate them, that lifts their spirit, probably lifts your heart too. When you take a moment to celebrate the sun in the sky or rain that you've been waiting for, or an amazing meal out in front of you, whether you cooked it or someone cooked it for you, take a moment and like bless that second, that moment with energy of gratitude, and it will lift everything and everyone around you, consciously or subconsciously. I got 5 more things for you. Stay with me. I'm an even number person, so that was number 5. We're headed all the way to 10. Something when I was journaling about this is, for me personally, I wrote number 6. You are sensitive emotionally and energetically. Duh. Take care of your own light and refrain from changing yours to please other people. I cannot tell you the number of times I let other people determine my energy in 2023. Here's some examples. I might have, good and bad, right? I have had the best day ever. And let's say one of my roommates comes home and is not in a bad mood, but is in a different mood than I'm in. And so, once they walk through the door, I immediately feel that, oh, okay, like something's up there, and so being friendly, trying to ask like, hey, how was your day? And maybe not getting a lot of responsiveness. I take that personally. And by the way, it's sometimes the other way around where I walk in and I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. And you're in a much chipper mood than I am. So like buzz off. I let that energy I give it off as well. So it's not just about constantly receiving. It's about being sensitive and understanding the give and take between people around you, and then being able to protect yours, or support others with yours, right? But countless times you walk into a room or you walk into a meeting at work and there is an energy. You can't deny it, good, bad, indifferent. And so it's all about calling yours back to you, and letting that person be in theirs. And if they want help or they want support, you can either offer it or let them ask you for it. And yeah, it's really simple, but it's really hard to do because oftentimes, like, for example, I'll be in a great mood and then I'll encounter one person and I'll spiral out of control. What did I say? What did I do? Why is their energy towards me, emphasis on the towards me, different? And you have to remember that it's not personal. It's not about you. Stop making it about you. It's about them. So let them be about them. Which brings me to number 7. Let them. Let them say what they want to say about you. Let them go do whatever they want to do. They're on their karmic path. You are not in control of other people. So knock it off and stop playing scenarios in your head. If I was them, I would do this. If I was in their shoes, this is probably the action I would have taken or not taken. These are the words I would have said or not said. Let them show you their behavior, their values, their desires. You do not determine anything for anybody but yourself. So let them be in control of them and relinquish it for your own peace for you. I cannot stress this enough. There are plenty of times that we probably acknowledge critical or judgmental thoughts that we are not proud of going on in our own heads. It could be towards ourselves, it could be towards others. And we have to be able to reel those back for ourselves, knowing that there's always going to be critical and judgmental people out there. And you might be one of them at moments, and that's okay. That's called being human. But you have to let people move on their own path at their own pace. You can't do it for them, and you can't pull them along. They have to take steps. And if there's someone in your life who you see not taking those steps or choosing a path that's different than yours, that doesn't necessarily align with the same values, paths can be different and experiences are different. But what it comes down to is if you don't share the same thematic mission of your life, you're probably not gonna vibe, and that's okay. So let them go. Let them go. Number 8, momentum will get you a long way, so just start. I had been talking about a podcast since last year, 2022. I went to Bali in March. I was encouraged by all the beautiful ladies there. Shout out to Andy and Sam, Samantha, and everybody for equipping me with not only the encouragement, but the tools. And then I got home and I did nothing about it. And then I went on another retreat with similar gals. Shout out Wee Wee Studio. And that's when it finally clicked. Just fucking do it. It doesn't need to be perfect. The perfectionist in me cringes every time I post on Instagram or I record a podcast or I edit a podcast. I want the perception of me to be extremely eloquent and well-spoken, and it's particularly in the podcast world, but whatever. Like, I have all these expectations of myself for people that I'm trying to manage, and I'm like, I just need to follow my passion and do it. And once you get started, that momentum and that excitement of even a response or a physical response from yourself helps you get more of it and helps you keep going. And so celebrate momentum. Let it take you in directions that you didn't plan, and also don't fucking plan everything. It's not when we have deep expectations, when we think about like yoga philosophy and whatnot, non-attachment is one of the key pillars of living a yogic life. Aparigraha is what it is in Sanskrit. It's letting go of expectations, of thoughts, of concepts, of what you think life should be, what the future should look like, what you should have done in the past, and simply live in the very present, capital H here, capital now, and just be where your feet are. And so when you find yourself in the momentum, you have to be so present because things are moving, and sometimes they're moving outside of your control. And so you just need to like pretend you're in a cute little energetic tornado of glitter and color, whatever it is that calls to you, and Let yourself be swindled and swirled away and enjoy it. Have fun. Like, let the ride be the ride. 9th on my list is the only opinion that matters is your own. People are going to say what they want to say. They're going to think what they want to think. They're going to send screenshots of your Instagram to text messages, or maybe they won't, and make fun of you in those group texts. Maybe they won't. Maybe everybody cares about what you're doing, and maybe nobody does. And so it's this cool duality of everybody cares, but nobody cares, and everything matters, but literally nothing matters. And so if you can balance that little cha-cha, that little dance between those two really existential states, you're going to be on fire, my friend. The only perception of the world, the only opinion of yourself that matters to you is your own. So whether someone's saying something or no one's saying something, what's going on in that cranium of yours and your heart space needs to be what you want to feel and be. You have control over that for the most part. And so you need to take the action and have a little bit of accountability for yourself to say, I do not care about the other people outside of me. I can control me. I can be me. I have full permission. I've always had full permission to do exactly what I want to do, exactly how I want to do it. And so let yourself free yourself from the prison that feels like judgment of assessment of others' minds, and let yourself just be in your own la la land. Even if you're a little naive sometimes, I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to help you get on your higher path and move forward to what not only is meant for you, but also makes you feel good on a more consistent basis. We need more of that energy of consistently waking up and finding gratitude and excitement and joy for the life that we've already led and the life that's available to us in each day, each moment. My last lesson, and I think these two go hand in hand. You pick yourself back up. No one's going to let you starve. Your community will always serve as your backbone. But you get to make choices that help shape your reality. And that's a really big role to take on, a really jarring thing to think about. Because I truly believe at the end of the day, we are in control of nothing. We're just little humans on earth having fun and like enjoying the passing of time. I heard recently that that's what the purpose of life is, enjoying the passing of time. So all these little things that we stress about or flit around in our head, yeah, they're going to sit there sometimes and they're going to create baggage and they're going to get you into an energetic state of overwhelm and fear. And a lot of structures that we have built around us as a society are to do exactly that, to keep you fearful and keep you small. But you also have to remember that you are the person on a day that can pick you up. You are the person that when you can't, you get to ask for help. And you get to find people that you want to ask for help. It's really hard to. And so remember, community is everything. Even if they don't know it, I always say, I said this, I'm getting emotional about this as well. I said to Shawnee yesterday, I said, I see a future here in my personal career at the Bouldering Project. And the reason being, yeah, I've forged awesome relationships. I love everybody there, truly. I love the values. I love what it stands for. And I love the idea of movement being a a place that I really step into in my career path. But I told her selfishly, the thing that I often think about the most when I think about a place where I'm going to continue investing time and energy, both precious resources to us, is how it makes me feel. And I can honestly say there have been plenty of days I've walked in shit mood, long day at work, emotional, drained, unexcited to move my body. And I leave feeling like $1,000,000. I leave feeling recharged, energized, thoughtful even. And maybe some days I have a total breakdown to someone that I trust and I need to talk it out. But more often than not, it's the days of subtlety, the days where I am catching up with someone at the front desk, or I get 15 minutes by myself to climb, or with a friend, or, I get to have a deep conversation with someone I didn't know a lot about and just get to learn a little bit more about what is on their heart. And maybe it's just I get to roll around and fart around on the floor for 15 minutes and de-stress that way. But the energy of the space and the people and the gravitational pull I feel is what makes me go home at the end of the day and lay down and say, wow, that was a great day. And so as I look forward, situations, places, people that don't give me that feeling are slowly moving away. And that's okay. That's beautiful too. But you have to remember that you get to make a lot of choices to reshift that energy. Maybe you don't have a place to go where you feel safe and supported to express those things. That's cool. Maybe it's you sitting down with yourself and writing out how you feel. Maybe it's taking a walk. Maybe it's eating a piece of chocolate, because that gives you a feeling of awesomeness for a second. I don't know. Get creative with it. But your choices shape your reality. And I think oftentimes I personally make the choice to sit in the comfortable, sit in the space of familiarity, because misery is familiar for a lot of us. So make choices. Make good choices is what I'll leave you with. Make good choices. So I learned a lot this year, and I'm feeling really excited about what's to come. I think I've enjoyed 2023 so much because I've seen and felt so much growth. And that growth has come from within me. Yes, I've had amazing mentors and incredible resources that have gotten me there tactically, right? But at the end of the day, the desire to learn, the openness to change, the constant everyday getting up and showing up for yourself and being vulnerable, that's on you, boo. So take a moment, write it down, or just take a mental note of some things that you're really proud of. And in that list, maybe you also start to release some stuff. Write down some things you're like, this isn't serving me anymore. I'm ready to offload that burden. And then you'll start to see what you're ready to call in. I spent a lot of time yesterday creating my vision board on my computer and printed out the photos so that I can put them on my wall with my big ass calendar. It's literally called that. I'll send some pictures here. And I just feel so good about it. Like, I just feel so excited about it because I'm in my energy and I'm letting that momentum carry me through. And getting organized is a fun activity for me personally. So cheers to 2023. You were frickin' awesome. And I keep telling the universe, show me how good it gets. I can't wait. There's opportunities out there that I don't even know about yet, but I know they're coming for me, and I know they're going to bring me into a whole new space. So much gratitude to you this year. And 2024, let's talk about her. So I'll make this quick, but I'd love to pull a spread for my tarot cards and do a card for each day of the month, as well as a card for kind of the overall theme of 2024. And so in this episode here, I'll share a preview of 2024 thematically, as well as what's to come in January. And so overall, I took a peek before I started recording this episode at those two cards. And I found it very fitting, very interesting. Some of the themes that are already emerging. Now, also, I want to caveat by saying if these don't resonate with you, skip them. That's okay. But so far, they're really resonating with me, and I want to share with you how and why. So, for our 2024 theme, it is the Seven of Swords. And if you look at the card, if you can see me, or if you have your own deck at home, you'll most likely see an individual. In my case, it's a woman walking away with a bunch of swords in her hands. And as she walks, she's dropping them and kind of looking at them like thing of the past. And I love the Seven of Swords because it's kind of a sassy card. The key theme here is to use what you've got in your toolbox personally, right? Your personality, your skill sets, and use it for more of a diplomacy kind of idea rather than aggression or defensiveness. Almost a card of manipulation, if you will. And so some of the key themes that are listed in the guidebook for this deck are deception, yikes, uncertainty, strategy, cunning, illusion, and consequences. And kind of the breakdown of this card is the image of dropping those swords on the way could mean a lot of different things. It could be running away from something. It could be kind of sneaking away and stepping away. Or it could be, a sense of betrayal, giving up on something, someone. I think the swords that are dropped symbolize something that you're leaving behind. And think about when you leave things behind, sometimes it can be in haste, or it can be in a rush, or it can be I regret leaving those things behind. And it even says it might eventually catch up with you and stab you in the back. And I'm reading this because it's kind of a scary card, honestly. But I also want to remind you, and the book says this as well, the image can represent your desire to walk away without anyone noticing so that you might not have to deal with your problems. I look at that as more so, take this as a card of empowerment to think about the things that you are truly ready to step away from. I think a lot of times we tell ourselves, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to leave, I do that shit all the freaking time. And I don't. I let that energy, that job, that relationship, that person, that thing consistently still stay behind me and follow me around. And so for me, the theme of 2024 is to continue walking on your journey, be honest about your path, be safe about your path. And when I say safe, it's all an illusion, but what is safety to you? Is it, I'm going to quit my job when I have XYZ amount in my bank account? Cool. Make that something that you take action towards and look forward to. Maybe it is hey, this relationship in my life, this friendship in my life doesn't serve me anymore. I'm going to be upfront and honest about that. Use my energy and my feelings to explain it and walk away when I feel ready. But the biggest thing is don't run away from your problems. Your heart knows the right thing to do. And so stay in that heart energy and know that all the things that do serve you are already here. You're just not perceptive of them yet. But we can't take everything with us. When you think about numerology, 2024 it adds up to 8, and 8 is a number of abundance, of success, of really truly reaping the benefits of what you've been working so hard towards. And I love that the 7 of Swords is kind of juxtapositioned with that, because we can't take everything with us when we go. And so this card is a deep reminder that throughout the next 12 months, 365 days, take a minute and let go, shed that layer that is not serving you, and you already know it, because your heart's probably telling you, hey, that's already the case. But you're not ready to unattach from it for some reason. And then January is going to be the Ace of Wands. Wands are the element of fire. And I love the imagery of my deck here. The Ace of Wands, it's almost a beautiful hand holding the wand up, coming out of the clouds, with a gorgeous landscape behind it. And the Ace of Wands thematically is more so about starting fresh. It's about new beginnings. It's about excitement for what's ahead. And I think that's just really fitting, obviously, because our society deems January as the month of new beginnings. And so with this card, I'll read you what the booklet says, pretty word for word. The themes are creativity, inspiration, new opportunity, and desire. The Ace of Wands depicts a hand emerging from the clouds, a blessing to the sky, presenting an opportunity. There's 3 leaves on the wand for my card specifically, which represent creativity, imagination, and vision. The 3 energies essential to bringing anything to fruition. Take note: imagination, creativity, and vision. Ace of Wands is presenting an opportunity, so take it. Aces always represent new beginnings and endeavors with a rich promise, like a magic witchy wand of directed and focused energy. You just have to decide where to focus that energy. Ace of Wands is also known as the go for it card. In my words, fuck it card, or the sign that you've been waiting for card. Start taking actions and take small steps every day. Continue to grow your idea over time. Let that momentum carry you. You already have what it takes. The perfect card that I would have selected for January if I had a choice, but it spilled out of the deck on its own, which I really, really love. So remember, as you head into 2024, no pressure. Take things at your time. Do it when it feels right. But also, remember that you already have all the things that you need, and it's already yours. So by taking action on what makes you feel excited, joyful, maybe even a little uncomfortable, you create more space to receive those blessings, those opportunities on your journey. All right, I promise I'll be back with more gusto. I'm feeling revived and excited. And the last thing I want to say is just a deep, deep thank you to each and every single one of you, whether this is your first episode that you're tuning into, or, you've listened to all my episodes up to this point. I feel so inspired and so called to do this and follow this path. And I feel so excited for what's to come. And so I wouldn't be here without beautiful listeners like you who are curious about diving into their own practices and what connecting with with your highest self means to you. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. If I know you, if I don't know you, I feel the support and the love from you. And so I just wanted to say thank you one last time. Now, Happy New Year. And you'll probably be hearing this, well, you will be hearing this on January 1 of 2024. So I hope you all had an amazing evening, whether that was in or out in a sparkly outfit with a glass of champagne. You deserve all that is coming to you in the coming months, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey. I love you so much. Till next time.